Let me tell you something. I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. So this is going to be the crypto video, guys. We'll cover Bitcoin, the altcoins. The big event this week you need to be aware of is Jackson Hole, where the key boss hole himself, Fed Chair Powell, will be speaking on Friday. The committee meets on Thursday. He speaks on Friday. Powell will have a script he will read off of. He's good at sticking to the script. Where he tends to F up is when he does the Q&A portion and answers questions, because his true feelings come out. We know Trump hates Powell. We know Powell hates Trump. So the question is, will Powell be hawkish at this meeting? It's an important question because if he is, just like at the last FOMC, you can expect some volatility and potentially putting in some tops here in late August for a larger retracement. That's what people are afraid of. If Powell seems to commit to the possibility of cutting interest rates in September, which the market desperately wants. Remember, at one point, priced in a 95% chance. If Powell seems to give some, toss a bone to the people that want to cut, you could see the markets push up. So it is a pivot point, and it's the most important point of the week. Guys, before we start the video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Consider joining our members only service on YouTube. You can click the join button there, subscribe button, get all of our members videos. You can go to our website, marketmakers.trade, to join our Discord. And if you want to trade these markets and support the channel, check out BitUnix. That is a fantastic exchange to trade on. You can trade with just an email if you wish. You can go through the whole authorization process if you wish. But check out BitUnix. Use our link, be a Market Makers VIP. Let's start off. The chart that I like to look at, right? My piece de resistance. This is my masterpiece here. And this is something I want to look at as far as when the markets can top, right? The markets, because we have a traction here. You can debate the geopolitical space. You can debate the actual price action. What you can't debate is the time, if the time continues to track as it has since the top in 2013. And when we look at this, guys, the top in 2013, 211 bars, just over 4 years until the 2017 top. 204 bars, just 4 bars under a 4-year top for 2021. I projected this out to November 17th, 2025, which would give you 210 bars, just 2 weeks over a 4-year top, because I see these different charts on X. People are like, oh, we're topping and 4 months later, every previous cycle, 6 months later, 2 months earlier. No, if you actually look on the weekly time frame based on top to top, it's not a complicated process. You're topping pretty much in a 4-year cycle going back to 2013. You can say it's not going to happen this time. It's different this time, but that's what you've been doing, right? So we look at the months as well. In 2013, we topped in November. And 2017, we topped in December 11th, early December. And 2021, on a weekly time frame, we topped November 8th, right? So 2 November tops, early December top. So again, looking for that top, just threw it out here, November 17th. But the key thing is, the key warning indicator of this chart, which is held true now for the last 2 iterations of the top, is the RMA and the beach ball. Every time we cross the beach ball on the RMA within 30 days, the top is in. Cross the beach ball, within 30 days, the top is in. And here we are, just 10,500 points away from crossing the beach. And look at this beeline this thing is making. It looks like it's going to cross that beach ball right there in November. As you can see, within 30 days, your top should be in. So we're going to go over the price action of what we see happening here, what I see happening here. And you guys tell me your thoughts here. Be sure to follow me on X at Market Canary. It's right there on the chart as well. Lee's probably going to flash it up there on the screen. But let's go ahead and look at some of the price action. Guys, one thing I'm going to look at is a total crypto cap. Because we've been talking about this, my thoughts were you'd stay under 4 trillion until you get the blow off top, then we move up to 4.72 trillion, right? Because you can look at the Fibonacci, it's been holding up absolutely beautiful. You tried to get that breakout when Bitcoin went above 125K, and look at it, you sold right back off. So as of right now, basically since July, you've been stuck under this 4 trillion cap. You need more money to come in, which is why I try to get a breakout. You need more money to come into these markets. So there seems to be two narratives that are forming. Talking to people in our Discord, just seeing what you guys are writing on X as well and some of the comments. Some people think Bitcoin is going to simply consolidate, just like it is here, right? Consolidate, some sideways chop, and then just break out for the blow off top. Other people think a retracement's coming first to a lower level. Maybe 100K, maybe 99K. We'll go over some of these levels in the zoomed in charts. That seems to be the two big narratives, right? I really haven't talked to too many people that think this is the top and it's crashing. Everybody thinks it has something left in it from the people I'm talking to. When we look at this, going back to my targets from January 2025, guys, we got the 109, right? Precisely. Target 109, 32% drop. Before that, the breakout from the diamond pattern back in, what was that, October? Was that 2023 or 2024? Let me zoom out and look. The diamond pattern down here we talked about, yeah, it's October 2023. We got to the 74K target. So again, something interesting that I look at on this is when we talk about these retracements, let's just say we have no idea to know what Powell's going to say, obviously, right? If the market takes it good, you can break out to 132. You're at 116 as I'm recording this. But just look at this. Look at the history of what the market's done. When you've come up to these major tops, that 75K top, 33% retracement. You came up to the 109K top, 33% retracement. So if you're going to retrace, does that mean you're going down 33%? I don't, because again, I think we're near the end for the blow off top. I don't think you're getting that same size retracement. I do see, regardless of if we're retracing now, we'll go over this in a daily time frame, or if we're going up, I see 132 as very strong resistance. Why? Because the fibs have held out so beautifully at each iteration. Your 1618 was just right on the money. 109, 909, you got up to 109, 952 within 40, 50 bucks on a $109,000 asset before that drop. And the 200% is at 132. So let's just look at a couple of options here, because if the blow off top is coming in November, right, give or take a few weeks, as you saw in the previous chart, let's just take a drawdown here. If we hit 132 and we start drawing down, where would this go to? Well, that 30% drop, if we did 32, 33%, like those last two big key drops, that's 89K. I don't think you're going to do that again, because I think that blow off top is in November. I don't think you have enough time. I think you're going to do what I've been saying, that 15-20% range for retracement, or actually 17-25%, somewhere in that range. Let's just call it 20%. Reason I say that, look at that. That 17% takes you back to 109. One thing that is interesting is each of these larger retracements took you back down to the previous accumulation top wick. So in other words, you hit 109, 909, and what did you do? You retraced 32%. But where in actuality did that take you to? It took you to the very tippy top of your previous accumulation range. If you did this same move, if you do break out, come up to 132, then sell back off, that previous accumulation range is right there at 109, okay? 17% drop. If you came down a few extra percentage points, 20, 25%, all makes sense, because again, I think you're going to be accumulating and taking off. The problem I have personally, it's just my viewpoint. You don't have to agree with it. The viewpoint I have as to why Bitcoin's not just going to go to 132, then go to 168. Because remember, ultimately, my final target, target 3, again, based on expansive ratios in the marketplace, is 168. The problem I have with just not saying it's going to 132 to 168 is there's literally an all-time high of money sitting on the sidelines. Over $7 trillion in money market funds. And I just believe you need that big, dumb money in the market to get the next major leg up. We can get the 132 without them, just on euphoria, just on what Powell says here coming up this Friday. Again, if he's dovish, it's going to be perceived as dovish. You could easily see, we already got up to 125, guys. You could easily see that extra 5, 6, 7,000 points, get to 132, then get some type of retracement. But so much big dumb money is trapped. They're trapped in their narrative, they're trapped in their positions, and they did not partake in the big up legs. That's also why you're seeing massive shorts on Ethereum right now. Lee, throw that chart up. But you're seeing massive shorts on Ethereum. They missed out on the rally. I think you need that pullback, get the flood of Wall Street money coming in. Other people will be like, oh, this is the time to buy. Now you got to buy. Be an aggressive buyer. And then you'll see the market accelerate back up. We look at this on the daily time frame. Our next lunar pivot is Saturday, August 23rd, the black moon. That's when we have a day after PAL, right? A day after PAL. Look what Bitcoin's doing. I mean, your trading range is really well defined. You're at 123 here from that fractal high, 116. You've wicked above it in an up thrust. You got a shakeout, a down thrust below it, and you're right back down there at 116 again, okay? So we have this pivot coming up. What's PAL going to do? Are we going to try to come back up some and in essence, in anticipation of PAL, and then break down for a retracement, some type of retracement? Or is PAL going to surprise us and stick to the script, maybe be dovish, and then you see that breakout towards the 132? That's what it's all about. When you look at this on the daily chart, when we look at this, guys, I mean, this is how mid you are, okay? You're just mid. You're at 116 again. This neckline, very important, 112. You want to hold that 112 because I showed you guys this a couple of times. You have an M top, right? You have an M fractal right here. If you break down below that 112, your targets to retrace to 104 and 99, okay? That's your two targets to retrace to, the 1618, 200%, if you were to break below 112. So it's important to do this coil that you're doing right now. That's what you're doing. Remember, spring compression, right? The longer you coil and compress, you get a breakout move. Will that move go to the upside or to the downside? I can't predict what PAL's going to tell you, but what I can tell you is what to look for. What would this look like? Well, a breakout would look like this. Here's your breakout, right? You got price action coming up and down. We have a few more days before PAL, but let's say we hold this higher low area. You come up, PAL's dovish, you break out. At some point, you pull back some, and then you proceed to the upside to your resistance point, 130, 132, and then you look for a top if you share my market narrative. Same thing to the downside, guys. If you break down with PAL, take out 112. At some point, you'll come back up, retest this region, and if you start breaking down again, this would be an opportunity to short if you think a larger breakdown is happening in the marketplace. Again, here, if you're swing trading, you're mid. I mean, you're literally gambling. It's either going to do that if you want to be long, or you're doing that if it's going you want to be short, right? So you're just at midpoint here in the trading range. You don't have your Livermore pivot. You don't have a pullback. You don't have a breakout to the upside. Same to the downside. You don't have a breakdown, back test, breakdown again. You don't have any movement. You're in a coil. So again, this is just my perspective. Just being patient here, watching what we're doing. MSTR, I know some guys in the Discord are accumulating at this level, but again, they're expecting higher Bitcoin prices. It just depends on your market view. Key level right there, 358, right? 358 brought you to 450 up here. So if MSTR starts breaking down, which it would if Bitcoin started breaking down, next key support's 344, 317 beneath that. If you start going up, key resistance 410, right at the 1618, 451. You got rejections at 410, just above it over here, and you obviously have the rejection at 451. So again, you're ping-ponging in a trading range. It just depends on your market view. But from a breakout perspective, you're not breaking down and you're not breaking out. You're at the bottom of a trading range. You look at Ethereum, again, this long trading range you had back from March 2024, put in your key tops here, right at that 4100 level. A little bit shy here, but I was telling you guys this looked like a triple top. You break through on the fourth attempt. You got a shout. You got a nice retracement here. You break out right up to the 4600 level. You got up to 4800. Your all-time high is 4864. And again, lots of shorts on Ethereum right here. I would like to see 5,000 hit, but for 5,000 to be hit, you got to get something bullish with Bitcoin as well to come up to this level. Remember, when there's that many shorts on an asset, any asset, if price does rise, you get a short squeeze. They have to cover. Them covering their shorts drives price higher. Just something to consider. It's something interesting. But you're at support at 42.28, bouncing off support. You have the ceiling support at 4,100. But ultimately, again, it just depends what happens with Powell. And people hate hearing that because they don't want to believe that somebody could drive the market up or down. People that only believe in TA or fundamentals, they just want to be like, no, well, the charts tell me the news. And people that believe in fundamentals actually think assets like Palantir, which has a $4 billion sales revenue and is selling at a $400 billion market cap, 100x, they think that's fundamentals, right? So the markets are all driven by emotion. That's what the whole market is. Euphoria and emotion. What Powell says matters, and you'll see it reflected in the price, okay? That's where you're going to see it. So for Ethereum to get more bullish, you got to break out above 4,800. You want to stay above this 42.28. If you start breaking back down into your trading range, most likely you're seeing Bitcoin also begin to break down. Let's expand this some so you can see this. But this is what you want to watch for. Whenever you have these hook patterns, always watch for the rebound. You got a hook right here, 42.28, could come down to 4,100. Watch for the rebound. It's all about the rebound. Can you take out your fractal high to come up to higher levels, or do you roll over with it or underneath it? That's how you get the M tops, guys. And then you can look for weakness. If we look at Solana, Solana did exactly what we talked about it doing. The same long Wyckoff channel you've had here going all the way back to March of 2024. You got above it one time, made a disjointed M top, a false break M top, but every other time you failed at it. You failed at it again, you failed at it again here, and you failed at it over here. And now you sold back off. So you got up to that 205 level, which is where I told you that key resistance was, and you came back down. You're at 181 right now, 182, and you have to look at your patterns that are on your screen, right? So look at your patterns again. So it's going to be important for Solana to hold key support because you're building an M top. If you can hold support, stay up there around 175, 166, whatever, do something like this. Maybe you can get some accumulation and attempt to break out again. And then just look at your basic YouTube TA, right? Your basic YouTube TA, higher lows, higher highs. That's what you want to see if you want this channel to continue to the upside. You do not want to break below 156 because then you will have a larger retracement with your M fractal. You break that neckline, you're coming back down, and you'll be retesting that 130, 125 range if you do something like that. You're not close to doing that right now, just letting you know, right? So you have this beautiful uptrend. You want to keep it intact. And I think you will keep it intact if Bitcoin does try to make that move to 132. If this is starting to top out and Bitcoin rolls, then obviously you're going to see some red bars start pushing down in that direction. If we look at SUI, I mean, this is just trading beautifully in this channel, right? We got beneath the channel here. We came back up, got above the 618, hit the 786, and where are you at? Right in the back of the heart line of the channel. So again, that's your support level, resistance levels you got rejected at. $4, $4.20. You want to stay above $3.40 or $3.27, I mean, because you're at 358 right now. And if you did come down to that lower level, well, it's not the end of the world, but again, you have to look at the patterns you made, right? Made an M top here. If you were to break down below 326, where do you think you're going? You're going back into the clusters of candles for support. Okay, so this is all about support and resistance with a known catalyst coming up on you at the end of the week. Again, my view of the markets. This is what you're looking at XRP. ABC played out beautifully, right to $3.69, sold back off, trying to hold your Wyckoff trading range ceiling. You were unable to do that over here, obviously. Then you came back down to $1.75, right? So you don't want that to happen. Same structure is present. You do have an M-top structure, but you also have a coil. So it's important for XRP to stay above $2.72. You're at $3. You want to stay above that so you can keep this coil going, right? Keep this coil, this accumulation, and at which point you either break out or break down. Don't want to break below $2.72 because then you have $2.25. Options like that coming in here as you look at these support structures down here for XRP. Resistance above you is the same, 370, $4.34. This was by request from you guys at YouTube comments. I do read them. I do reply to them. ADA. So we look at ADA. This one's easy. Just to be honest, December 2024, you put in a high here, right? Just pull your fib from your December 2024 high. Go to your corrective low, which is over here. That's about the same price. So just about over here, over there. The June 2025 low. Anyways, you hit the 618, $1.01. You see that? You got the 618. Look at your trend. You have a low, you have a high, you have a higher low, you have a higher high. So if you want this to continue, here's your support structure beneath it, right? To keep this higher low. 85 cents, 81 cents, 75 cents. You want to keep that support structure if you want an attempt to be able to come up to $1.10, $1.15 at the 786, and then you got to just look at your highs over here, $1.32 to break out of that. And again, if things start to roll, then you want to look at that support structure because you'd be giving this up, right? You do something like this, some type of pattern like that where you start to give up the gains that you made. So guys, if you want to watch my markets video, be sure to watch that after this video, and it's going to be a fun week. Follow me on X at Market Canarix. I'll be giving updates throughout the week as well. Hope to see you guys on the Discord. Talk to everybody soon.